Okay, so this is like a quiz. Basically saying output execution. So we have a try catch block here as well as a finally block after. If you remember properly, finally block always runs, like basically under any circumstance, the finally can run. So first it's saying try, and they're gonna throw this new test exception or new test, like this object. And then there's a catch block that's saying catch test T, and it's gonna print this out, and then finally it's gonna print this out. So based on this information, what do you think the output would be like to the console? If you want, you can just type your answers in chat. I'll give them around like 4 or 5 minutes for this, but just like basic. Okay, someone already got the answer, but I'll give like around 5 minutes for this, and just like type in chat what you think the answer is. All right, so there's like about 1 more minute. I'm just checking to see who's answered it. Okay. I think pretty much everyone has like tried. Okay. Except for I think Caden or like yeah. So I guess I can just go over now. It seems like most people have answered. But if you have any questions about it, just let me know and I'll like type in chat. Basically, I'm just gonna see. Let's just see what happens when you put it in the clips. Give me a second. Okay, so well, first of all, okay. So I don't think it's gonna work. I think most people are right. Like Okay. It's just not going to work. There's going to be a compile like time error. There's a compilation problem. The reason why is because this object called test, well, whatever it is, it's not in the throwable, like it's not a subclass of throwable. So remember for like try catch blocks, the only thing you can have here is like something that's in the class throwable. So either like an exception, an error, or like this throwable. Okay. Did we learn throw and about objects? No, not explicit. All right, so basically for like when you have a try catch block, the only thing you can have in this like catch block is like either you can type it as a comment, throwable, exception, or error, because throwable is the parent class. If we look at wait 1 second. Let's go up. If we look at this picture right here, like these are the only things we can have in the catch block: throwable, exception, or error. So the whatever the test thing was is not a part of this. So that's why we can't use that. It's just going to give a compile time error. So if we change this to like exception or something, and then it would work if you like threw some sort of exception here, or like throwable. Yeah, or throwable, or like error or something. Yeah, like those won't work, but not test, because that's not like a subclass of throwable. So if that makes sense. But let's say if this was some sort of exception, like say it was an exception, and then we did do catch exception T, what would print out is pretty much this. It would just print out got the test exception and then inside filing block. So we threw the exception here, it caught the exception here, and then it printed this statement out, and then finally always runs pretty much, so then it's going to print out this. So that's basically what would happen technically. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about that, just let me know. But otherwise, we're going to move on. So. Oh yeah, so the filing keyword is used to provide a block of code that's like mission critical, so it's pretty much always going to run. And whether an exception is caught or not, even if you have like a return statement in like a try catch block, it will still run the filing statement, which is how like powerful it is. So it is the last part of the try block, and it's not required, but it's just commonly used. Yeah, that's another example of that. And then yes, so someone I think was asking about like throw and like objects. So the throw statement is used together with an exception type. So like there's like different types of exceptions, right? So you can even create your own exception, but the throw keyword is like it just like throws the exception. I'm not really sure how else to explain it. It's usually in a try block something. When you like for example, you say like throw like number for like throw array index out of bounds exception. Throws is a different keyword. Like throws. Okay, so first this is how you use throw, like just like throw, no s at the end. For example, we say like try something, then we like throw an exception. And then throws is like different. Like throws is like you have like some sort of method, like yeah. Like you have some sort of method here, like public static void. And then like after like you have like throws like IO exception or something like that. This is an example of how you use the keyword throws. Then you would like do something and you're basically declaring that it could possibly throw this exception. Like you just put that at the top usually for like file IO stuff, like because you know that like it could like throw that exception. So that's why you put throws at the top. And this is different than like the try catch thing where you have like throw in the try block. Okay. I think we're gonna do some of these other quizzes. So there's another quiz question that we can go over first. So this is saying, what is the only type of exception that is not checked? What's exception, runtime exception, suppose that's an exception. This is like pretty specific, so I feel like I should go over this again first. So if we scroll back, this is the definition of checked exception. If you want to write it down, you can, or you can also just Google it, but these are like, they're not runtime exceptions and errors, but they're like IO exceptions, SQL exceptions. They're checked at compile time, so it's not runtime exception. Unchecked exception is like, they inherit runtime exceptions. So they're like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, like these ones. So basically a checked exception is at compile time, and unchecked exception is mostly at runtime. They are checked at runtime, yes. So for this quiz question, it's saying, what is the only type of exception that is not checked? So we remember checked exception is stuff that's at compile time. So if you think about it closely, just remember, checked means it's like checked at compile time. Unchecked means it's at runtime. So which one of these exceptions is not checked? I'll probably give a few minutes to answer this, but if you have any trouble with it, just like type in chat or something, and I can probably answer. So like so far 2 people have answered it. I think the other people in the class should probably try to at least like attempt it. I don't think there's any like harm in like guessing, but if you remember earlier, I can give a hint. So like basically checked exceptions are at compile time, unchecked exceptions are at runtime. So if you just like think about that, like you probably kind of guess what it is. Oh yeah, so it seems like most people like guessed it. So yeah, it's probably B, because class runtime exception and subclass just means any class that like inherits runtime exception. So when we go back, checked exception here says classes that directly inherit throwable except for runtime exception. So anything that's not runtime exception, basically. So then it says the classes that inherit runtime exception are unchecked. So yeah, the answer to that would basically be B. So yeah. Oh, okay. So this one's also like another quiz question. I can give like 4 or 5 minutes for this. So basically it's asking what happens during execution if a negative value is passed as an array index. Like you have a method or something that's, or you're trying to like get the element at an index of an array, but you pass a negative value. What type of exception or like problem would like, what would the output be? Like what type of exception would be thrown basically is what it's saying. Oh shoot, my bad. I actually clicked the wrong button. Oh, it actually seems like most people already answered the question, so I'll just go over it now. So I'm if I like try here, okay, let's say we have um like string equals, and then we try to, oops, and then we try to access like let's say an index of -4. Let's say r of -4 or something. I'm just gonna run it and see what happens. Yeah, there's a exception. So it's basically just the array index out of bounds exception. So basically, if you put in like a number that's just like out of bounds, like even if you say like index 2, it would still raise this exception because like index 2 just has nothing here because this array only has like 2 elements and it's zero-based indexing, so it would only have 0 and 1 as indexes. So if you put like a negative number, that's not going to work. Although in Python, like you can use negative indexes, but it still has to like have the like you can't have the index be like something that just doesn't exist. Like you can't have like index 2 because there is no index 2 here. So it just doesn't work. So basically it would just throw an array index out of bounds exception if you put in an invalid index. So that, yeah, so A would be correct. Okay. So this is I think there's like, this is the last quiz question for now, because I know you guys want to like learn some stuff besides this. So this quiz question is just saying that, say that a method catches an IO exception in a catch block. So we have like a try catch block, something throws an IO exception and we catch it in the catch block. Is it possible for that block to do some processing and then throw the same exception to the caller? Okay, so the options are no, when exception is caught, the exception object is destroyed, or no, an exception may be caught only once. Wait, the block. Yes, as long as the method also has a throws clause for that exception, or oh, uh, or yes, but the catch block must construct a new exception object. I think this one I think this one definitely seems harder. So you can, I'll probably give like at least 5 minutes for this, but you can also use Google if you want, because, or like even like use like Eclipse or something, like test it on your own, but just like try All right, so I think actually a lot of people seem to answer the question. So I think most people are right. It probably is C. So the reason why it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to demonstrate. So let's say hmm, hmm, wait, actually kind of forgot at the same time. Right. Let's say like okay, try hmm, I think it did work. So basically, there was a exception that was raised from this. Yeah. So like as you said, like there'd be like an array index out of bounds exception. Then we did catch it, but then we threw it back at the we threw it back at the at the like when we called it. So then it does like actually work. So as you see here, like it just like gives it back to you. But like if we change it, just say like then yeah, so it pretty much it did throw the exception back at us. So yeah, it does work. You don't need to make a new exception object. You can just like directly throw like the exception that you caught. So yes, you would be right. And you do need to have a throws clause for that. So I'm just gonna we're not gonna do the homework right now. So I'm just gonna start the next lesson basically. All right, so this is like another review. I feel like I'm spending a lot of time on throws and throw, but I feel like those are like kind of more important. Like exception handling is pretty important in Java. So um what is the difference between throws and throw? As we said, throw is like throw is like used to like when you want to actually like give like raise an exception or like for example you have like a method like a try catch block normally in the try thing you can like throw an exception there, but you need that throw clause. Throws is usually used as like to declare that you know that there will possibly be an exception. So like and you do in the method signature. So the difference is like uh I showed an example before, but I guess I'll just retype it. Um, yeah, and then like you say like you do some like stuff here, and then like you put the throws like in the method signature, like you declare it here because you know like it could throw this exception, so you're just saying that right off the bat. Whereas like throws, where the throws keyword is like, or no, the throw keyword is like in the try catch block usually. And then says, do we have to have a catch in the try catch block? Yeah, you do. You don't need you don't need the finally block, you need the try. I can demonstrate what happens if you like just don't have it. Yeah, it'll give you an error because it basically says you need to insert finally or oh wait, what was the question? Okay. Oh, actually, I guess you don't, as long, but you do need like something here. You can either not have a catch and just have a finally, but you can't just have like nothing after the try block. You have to have either catch or finally, is what it's saying. So yeah, you don't technically have to have a catch block, but then if you don't have a catch, you do need a finally after the try. Talking about the date. Okay. So I guess for now we're gonna start learning about the date class in Java. So um, the class date just represents a specific instant in time with millisecond precision. So the epoch time is midnight, January 1st, 1970 UTC. UTC just means universal time. And then I'll also paste this API for the class, basically. If you want to read about it more. So I should probably just pull it up for us, so I'll look at it. Okay, so this is like an API, which basically shows all the methods for this class, like what they do, what they take as arguments, what they return, pretty much. That's what an API is. And then the constructor, I'm not sure if you guys know what a constructor is yet, but for now, basically constructor is just something that like possibly it can take in arguments or it doesn't need to, but then it initializes like some variables for the class. I'm not sure if you guys actually learned. I feel like most people are not super familiar with classes and objects, so I feel like this might be actually kind of difficult for you guys to understand. So I honestly feel like we should probably be, if we want to, we should probably go over objects and classes first. But for now, just for like the sake of today's lecture, I will go over dates. So the date constructor just initializes the object for current date time and doesn't accept any arguments. You can have more than one constructor. So as you see here, there's two constructors. This general constructor does not take any arguments. If you see, there's nothing in the parentheses because it doesn't accept any arguments. So you don't need to put anything in this. And then it just initializes a date object with the current date and time. So yes, as we see here, it makes it a date object and then it just like has it so that represents the time at which it was created measured to the nearest millisecond. So there's actually several constructors here, but we don't need to know that many of these. Like you can always just pull up the API and look at the constructors. You don't need to memorize like any of this. So the second constructor is that we're going to be looking at is it accepts a long variable. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like, I want to write something. There's like double, float, long, int, short, and byte. And these are like the some of the like primitives in Java. So long is like, let me do that. Long is like one of the like, so there's like double, float, and long. Long is like bigger than, it has more storage or like space for memory than an int, but it's not as big as like a double. So like long can accept like a lot of, it can store a lot of numbers, but not as much as a double, but it does store more than an int. So it's just saying it accepts like something that you can like type in a number and it's of type long basically. And you don't really have to worry about that too much because basically any number you type, as long as it's not like absolutely massive that's like bigger than the amount of space long needs, then you're probably fine. Like you don't need to like think too much about it. So this constructor accepts an argument that equals the number of milliseconds that have elapsed since midnight, January 1 of 1970. And actually, it makes a date object and initializes it to represent the specified number of milliseconds. So basically the epoch. I don't think you guys need to know about that like too specifically. It's just like initializing it using your long date that you enter, and like you don't need to get too into it, I think. So this is another example of like in Java. So for example, the name of the class is date. So the type is date. We say date and then like this person also called it date, which I feel like can be kind of confusing, but they basically made an object date, and the name of the object is just called date, but with the lowercase d. And the syntax for that, you have to say new date. You have to say new and then like the type of the object basically. And since they didn't put anything in these parentheses, they're using this constructor right here, the one where you don't put anything in the parentheses. So then they basically printed out the get time method and like toString method of the dates class. If you look in the API, we can probably find it here, but yeah, so the get time method is right here. It returns the number of milliseconds since January 1st, 1970. And I'm pretty sure it just, yeah, it returns a long. So basically that's what it does. This one is just printing out the time since January 1st, 1970. And then this one is printing out the date to string. So I'm pretty sure this is a toString method that just like says like, it just, oh, just a string representation. So converts the date object into a string of the form. That's pretty much all it does. And then read these two methods in the help doc, run it several times to see the output keeps changing. So I'll just run it for you guys, since if you guys don't want to like open up Eclipse and like type this, because I think that might be kind of bothersome. So, oh shoot, I have to first I need to import the dates class. So whenever you're using like whenever you're using one of these like when you're making a object, unless it's like Java, like if they're like something like date or like scanner, you have to actually import it. You have to import the like package, otherwise it doesn't work. So yeah, pretty much it printed out this. We can run it again, and it's probably gonna print out something slightly different each time. Yeah, each time like this number is changing because the time is changing right now. So that's what happens. And yeah. So there are three ways to compare two dates. Get time gets the millisecond since midnight of 1970 for both objects and compares these two values. Before, after, and equals. And then there's a compare to method, which is from the comparable interface, and it's implemented by date. I really don't think you guys know what that means, because this has to do with OOP. So like you don't know about interfaces or like inheritance and like implementing stuff like that. So I wouldn't think too much about this part, but it's basically saying there's like several ways to compare dates, like if you want to do that using this class. Okay. Why is it that when I make a while loop to repeatedly output date.getTime, everything stays the same? Wait, let's try it. Okay, so let's say, yeah, it actually should change every millisecond, but maybe it's using the while loop. You're using like, are you putting like the date object like before like the while loop, or like in the while loop?
In the while loop.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like,
I mean,
it's like this. Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna try to have a note too. Okay, so let's say when it blue. Okay. Oh wait, you meant to get date. Wait, what was the method I used? Date.get time. Oh, I don't think the time actually, like, wait. Oh wait, I do want this to eventually end. Okay, this can like run infinitely or something. So I'd rather use a for loop for this, I think. Less than 4 and like say it runs like 3 times. Oh, for me, it changes. Like I did a for loop, which is like, and then it just like, it does change every time for me. Wait, let me see again. Okay, so it does like, yeah, it did change. I'm gonna look at yours though again. What did you do? Oh wait, your while loop is like, okay, I think I know what happened basically. Yeah, it doesn't seem to change, but wait. I feel like it has, I think it's because you put the date object like outside of the while loop or something. Because like it's gonna be like the same date object every time is what I'm guessing. So like it's just using the same like thing, but
Okay, that works. Thank
hmm.
you.
It's actually,
No.
oh,
If you
okay.
put it in the while loop, it works. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because like your date object was just like the same the whole time. Okay. So, oh, okay. So this is like another article I'm gonna look at. Okay, the Wi-Fi does not seem to be okay. And then they're just saying like these are some other things you can do. You can do simple date format, which is a simple date format object, and I think it just like makes it so that the format is like more readable. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So these are several ways to format the date, I'm pretty sure. There's multiple ways. I'm gonna see the one that, oh yeah, so date formatting using simple date format. So this is a class that you have to import, I'm pretty sure. It just like formats and parses the dates, and then it basically lets you like start by choosing any user like defined pattern for date formatting. So like this is like stuff that I don't know how to explain it, but it's like just the way that you would like format it. You can like choose how and stuff like that, and it just like formats it for if you want to like look more into that. I think I sent the link. Yeah. Yeah, so this is like the format, the syntax. So if you put like Y, and then like the months and the days, it should probably come out in that format, I'm guessing. T.ft constant. So I'm gonna like try this. And you have to import the simple date format class. That's not part of like java.util or like, yeah. So yeah, so now it printed out the date, but in a much more readable format. So that's basically just what it does. So yeah, and then it just like it basically just does that. It's just like formatting. I think I'm first just gonna like, since we already did a lot of exercises today, like and quizzes, I'm probably just gonna skip over this one for now because I think I need to like talk more instead of just like having you guys like do exercises. So getting time, it says that getting time is very important. It can help us find how fast the process is. So this is like basically this code is like they made a start time variable of type long, and then it's just supposed to like get the time right now, and then they made a while loop, and basically so they had an x that was 2. Each time x is going to be multiplying itself by 1.2, and each time y is going to be adding by like 1 million or something like that. Yeah, 1 million. and then it's gonna print out x plus y. And once x gets to the point that x is greater than y, it's gonna break. So then we're gonna get an end time of type long, which is just like the time that it took for this. It's gonna like get the time right now after we did this whole while loop. And then it's gonna print out, and then we can basically get the time that it took to complete this while loop by subtracting the end time from the start time. So we can like actually look at this, like try this out. Okay, so it completed the while loop, as you can see. It took 11 milliseconds. And yeah, so it basically, oh yeah, we did like, there's a string that value of here. So basically got the value of the time it took and then just convert to string. That's all string the value of does. And then just like, yeah, so that's pretty useful, I guess. If you want to do that, just like, you can just like make, if you want to see like how long a while loop would take, you would just do that. Oh, yeah, you can also use sleep to put the system to sleep for like a certain millisecond. And yeah, it's just like thread.sleep. And this is useful if you want your process to wait for another process to finish its job. So there's another method in Java to get the tick value in milliseconds. You know, internet is not very good. So there's actually a current time method that just returns the current time in milliseconds. So it returns a long, and then it doesn't accept anything. So it doesn't have any parameters. Oh, and it returns the difference measured in milliseconds between the current time and midnight from January 1st, 1970. So yeah, it'll just return the current time in milliseconds. That's pretty much all it does. Okay, I guess this one you guys don't have to do it in your own Eclipse. I'll just okay, I'm not really sure what happened there. I think there's a problem with the internet or something. But as I was saying, I'm gonna try this out in Eclipse to show you what will happen. So basically, if we look through this, first try block, oh, okay, it made a start time variable of type long, just, it's a system, oh, okay. It's just the current time in milliseconds from, yeah, and it's just the current time in milliseconds. And then just prints out like the day and then like a new line, /n just means a new line. And then it puts the system to sleep for like however much time this is. So we can see that here and print that. Then it's going to print out the new day after that. And it should have changed a bit because some time should have passed, like some amount of seconds here. And then the long end time is going to be a system.current time in milliseconds. It's going to be the current time in milliseconds basically. And then it's just going to compute the difference, which is that, and like the time now versus minus the time that we start out with, like before we did the thread sleep stuff. And then if there was some sort of exception, it would catch the exception and just print out what the exception, like got an exception. Okay, so I think this exercise might just take too long for like the class. It's saying to go to a website and then copy all the text on a site, save it to a file, and then print out the text character by character. use the time skills you just learned, check how long. Oh, okay. Okay, Mr. I thought we were like typing the stuff, but it's just saying like if you did like system.out.print, like how long would it take? I might assign this as homework instead because it seems like kind of like hard to like, I don't know, you wouldn't be able to like check any answers or anything. So okay, actually, I think we could try this exercise because with the remaining time we have left, it'll probably take this long. So basically, go to some like website. I would suggest a shorter like site or something. Instead of saving the text, just like copy the text and then like put it in like system.out.print or something. Like and then like see like using this like you can get like the start time and then the end time and then just like print out the difference. Okay. And then like in chat, you can just like type how long it like took for it to print out or something. So remember we can use I'll pull up the thing I had. So you can get the use system.current time minutes. This will get your start time. I'll make it easier by just like sending in chat to show. That'll get a start time, and then you can get an end time just like doing the same thing, and then all you have to do is just subtract like start time from end time, then you just get the difference. I mean, I can actually just give an example in the last like 3 minutes of class. I'll just show you guys how I would do it. Okay, so I know you guys are probably not done yet, but I'll just show an example of how to do it. So let's just like get some text from some website. Okay. This is not loading, so I'll just like use this text here. Um, and then I'll have like long Time equals turn time milliseconds, and then let's try. Jesus. Okay, and then long end time. And then I'm gonna print. Wait. Okay, and then I'm just gonna say like it took, and then oh shoot, there's okay. Oh well, there's something wrong with the text I chose, but yeah, it should work. Like okay, so it should have worked, but the problem is like there's something wrong like the text I think, but like basically it like just print out like what like it should just print out like the end time and start time. Wait. I think it's just like there's a problem with the text I chose. Like it said there's something wrong with the characters, but yeah, some characters cannot be mapped using characters. So it's something wrong with character digits. Oh yeah, sure. But otherwise it should work. Like I won't put my like like the text I chose, but I'll just like say something. I'll just like post the rest. Okay, this one should work now. Yeah, okay, so like this is pretty much I'll just paste it. Okay, it is like 7 p.m. now, so class is ending, but if you have any questions, please stay, but otherwise you're free to go and I'll post the homework as well. Yeah. All right, so if you don't have any questions, you can go now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.